Hello and welcome back to another episode of the St. Francis Youth Podcast, the podcast where we have a go at discussing the topics chosen by you. Welcome back to another episode of the St. Francis Youth Podcast. We are planning on doing maybe just 2 more of these, and then we're going to have a little break during August. And the reason for this is I just really want the youth team to have a bit of headspace and rest and a bit of time to prepare and just to discern what God might have in store for us from September onwards. So we're still going to be around for support, so if you need us, do get in touch. We're just not going to be producing content or running groups throughout August. We would love you to join us actually to reflect and pray during this time. There's a couple of ways you can do that. Firstly, would you be able to set apart a little bit of time during August to simply pray for whatever the new normal might look like in September? What is God hoping to do in us as a community as we begin to gather again from September? The youth team, I'm encouraging maybe to spend some time each week fasting and praying. Would you join us to do that? And why not share what you feel God has been speaking to you with us as well? Secondly, a survey has gone round on the weekly update email, the weekly links email. I would really appreciate you filling that in. There's one for parents and there's one for young people. And your feedback is so important to us. We inform our programmes on your feedback and your ideas. So please do just spend sort of 10-15 minutes filling that in, because it's going to make such a huge difference to our thinking for September as well. So this episode I've been really looking forward to. I just wanted to catch up with the youth team to hear what their experience of lockdown have been like, the highs, the lows, what they think God's been doing. And while we're at it, we played a few games as well. So welcome to this special podcast episode, which we're calling Youth Team Assemble! In the best superhero voice you can manage. And maybe a bit more like this. Youth Team Assemble! How should we do this? It's one at a time. Keep loading them in until one of us is sick. Go for it. After you, mate, and then...
Chubby Bunny! That's how I do it. I've never played before.
Chubby Bunny.
Good work. I think I can manage this one. Chubby Bunnies.
Woo! Is that it? If we won, we done.
That's it. We're done.
Right, let's hurry up because I really want to eat it.
Chubby Bunny!
Chubby Bunny.
Yeah. Chubby Bunny. You've got technique.
Chubby Bunny!
I can't this game. Chubby Bunny. What, you've got to utilise the space in your
Are you allowed to bite them?
Not really. Chubby Bunny.
Oh, okay.
Chubby Bunny.
I wasn't. Chubby Bunny!
Look a bit like Quagmire.
Giggity. Who else but Quagmire?
Chubby Bunny.
Chubby Bunnies.
It's really fun with you already.
Good. Chubby Bunny!
You're struggling now, aren't you?
This game would be much...
Chubby Bunny.
That's better.
Yes, this would be much easier to have loads of ulcers at the moment. Chubby Bunnies.
Chubby Bunny!
Nice.
Oh, Chubby Bunny.
Oh, right, this is going to make a great podcast. Just someone listening to us playing Chubby Bunny. Did not think about that. Chubby Bunnies. Come on.
What's that?
Chubby Bunnies. Oh, ulcer.
Oh, he's going for this bag. Hold on. Right. On the bag too.
Come on.
Chubby bunny. Ah.
Chubby bunny.
My face.
Chubby bunnies.
Oh, I can't look at him. Chubby bunny.
I really want to eat a marshmallow.
Chubby bunny.
You're like, chubby bunnies.
Chubby bunny.
Come on, Molly. Are you out? Oh. Okay. Chubby bunnies.
I'm out.
Do I win?
Thanks. What a stupid game. Oh, I've broken my computer desk.
Well, in this next riveting game, us three took on the challenge of tying up 4 strawberry laces and seeing who could win without actually holding it. I really struggled with this one. This was the hardest. I just felt like they were really heavy. They kept like falling out of my mouth. I mean, look at this. It's just not going anywhere despite all my efforts. Dan, however, and Sophie are storming through. There goes Sophie, just past another knot. Let's see who wins. Clearly, in the lead is Dan with an unbelievable time. To the point where his video is now going to lap. Sophie's still going for it. I am still struggling. I've done maybe 1. Look at all of that. I'm now cheating. And Sophie has just finished. 2nd place, well deserved. And frankly, I think we'll stop the video there because I just keep going for another 5 minutes. Useless at this game.
You get the
Cookies
smell.
and cream.
Smell the packet. Yeah.
A bit stronger than the branded one that can't be named because we're on a YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm joking.
You cannot be named.
Say Oreo. I've said it. I've done it.
Well, it's all right. I can say it because my dog's called Oreo. So
That's what we're talking about, Oreo.
yeah.
The other one, if you're listening. Yeah, cookies and these are from Aldi. Other supermarkets also
Other supermarket
exist.
brands are available.
There you go. So the game, I've only ever done this with After 8 Minutes. Lucy, you were saying that you've
Chocolate digestive. I've done
digestives
this with.
to like melt your face.
Yeah, they make an
Goodness.
awful mess. It's horrible.
Well,
Actually,
these are what I found in Aldi.
Yeah, this stuff doesn't have anything to melt your face. It might just slide off.
It might just slide off. That is the downside. I also think if it's easy, we should do it at that angle and see if we can make it roll.
I think
Oh,
it just
it's on
roll
there.
off.
I think that's a little bit too ambitious there, Paul.
I like to be too ambitious. Okay, here we go.
Oh no.
Which way are you doing it? Are you doing it flat?
Yeah, flat on the forehead, and it's the first one to get. This is going to make a fantastic audio podcast. I think people are going to love listening to this. Lovely viewers, I would suggest that you go onto YouTube and watch this. Here we go. 3,
I was going to fall straight off.
1. Oh wait, should we wait? Okay, go.
Okay.
Oh, it's on the nose.
Oh no.
I lost it.
Oh no,
Did you get? Oh, I thought you got it in then.
it's quite hard, isn't it? They're
It's
quite
just rolled
round.
straight off your face.
Okay. Oh no. Oh, that.
Oh!
Whose idea was this? This was a terrible idea.
I think After Eight is easier. Is it even possible?
I'm sure it's possible. Possibly just a bit improbable.
I've got biscuit in my eye. No, I haven't. It's fine.
I'm just making a massive mess on the floor as it dropped. Come on. Right, this is going to be the one.
I can get it to a cheek.
Okay. Oh no, that was the closest.
Uh,
I'm gonna kneel.
no. We've done it!
You done it?
How did you do that? I wasn't looking. I did it. I don't know how, but I did it.
Welcome, some of the amazing youth team, to the Youth Team Assemble podcast.
Woo!
Joined by Tony Stark. So good. What have the highs and lows of lockdown been? Should we start on the highs? What has been good in what has been quite a tough time?
Oh, my family, definitely. Yeah, I couldn't have got through the last couple of months without them. And as much as they drive me up the wall sometimes, yeah, just having them around is great. And I've really learnt to appreciate them being there. And they've done so much for me over the last couple of months. They've renovated our old kitchen into a downstairs bedroom for me, so I don't have to negotiate stairs. It's just something that's been amazing, that probably would have taken 6 months to do, but because of lockdown got it done in just over a month, and it was amazing.
I think the best thing about lockdown has certainly been spending a lot of time with my children, seeing them grow up, playing with them, going out on long bike rides with them, and that is something that I just wouldn't have had the opportunity to do if we hadn't been in lockdown.
I think some of the highs are time spent with family that we've been able to be with. So for me, I moved in with my sister for a little while. So it's kind of being able to have that time together as a family, which then goes the other way, being a low actually of not being able to spend time with other family members. Other highs are we live in an amazing area, so being able to go out into the fields and into gardens. It would be a very different time if we didn't have gardens and things to get into. I've enjoyed going out into the garden and enjoying the sunshine and just pottering around inside the garden and going out for walks. Other things that have been highs, again, grateful for technology, grateful for being able to catch up with people via Zoom. We managed a family game of bingo a few times, which was great fun. Doing youth group on Zoom, doing church virtually as well. I think, you know, if we didn't have that, that would obviously, all those things would make time a little bit different, wouldn't it? So yeah, being able to catch up on a Sunday has been good throughout the whole of the process.
I would have to say talking to my friends more, because my best friend said who recently moved to Basingstoke, I don't see her as much, so literally all of the week I've just been like FaceTiming her and just massive catch up and friends, and also finally getting my room done after so many years of it being a mess, but
Nearly done.
but no, and also family as well, because even though Hamish comes home a little bit grumpy sometimes, it's just nice to
Yeah, definitely.
A little grumpy.
What about the lows?
Again, I know we discussed it before, but with work, it's obviously been quite a challenge for us. We've all similarly, mental health has had drastic declines, and we're all turning against each other and sort of lost that don't know what the word I want is, but we as a team we were quite tight, and it split the team and stuff. And obviously the customers, although a lot of them have been good, we've had a lot of sort of troublemakers. Me, myself, and my colleagues, we've received verbal and physical abuse from customers, so it's been quite a difficult time for us as a team, and it's only going to get worse, we feel, with sort of restrictions being eased. So like at the moment we've got someone manning the door asking people please sanitize when you come in. We're only allowed one person in at a time and such, and obviously now it's just going to be a free-for-all. We're just putting up signs and hoping for the best, really. So of course we're all sort of worried about that. So yeah, that's what sort of I think hit me the most, with the sort of mental health just rapid decline of why am I at work? I'm not being paid enough to do this. I don't want to be here. But yeah, obviously we've got through each day as it came. We faced each challenge. But on a positive note, we have just had an ice cream freezer delivered to work, so we've been getting a lot of ice cream this past week. So yeah, there's silver linings, I suppose.
Definitely.
Although I did ask, can I work from home if I just set one of the work tablets at the door and just sit
Just have an iPad.
But they wouldn't let me.
Oh wow.
The hardest part of lockdown has definitely been not being able to see the kids' grandparents. So to see Becca's mum and dad, to see my mum and dad, because they both live so far away. It's just been impossible to see them other than through FaceTime and things like that, and it's just not the same. So we're going to be really glad when we can see them again.
I think for me, the lows have been, I think like lots of us, it's had a real hit at points on my mental health. There's been a lot of kind of down days, just days where it's really tough to get motivated and get doing anything. And then I think I found youth work incredibly difficult over a screen. It just feels so unnatural.
Yeah, it doesn't
like,
feel like being in person.
Yeah, and I don't, there's a lot of guys that aren't sort of engaging on Zoom, and I don't blame them. It's really tough. It doesn't really feel like youth club, and that's okay. But I'm looking forward to being able to get back and lose at table tennis, but have a great conversation while I do it. Do you know what I mean? Like that's kind of what we're about, isn't it? Just kind of actually interacting whilst doing stuff. And there's been some good points, I think, on Zoom, and it's not been all bad. And technology, I'm so grateful for. Like it's been amazing to stay connected in these ways, but it doesn't quite cut it. And I'm looking forward to all being back in a room together. And even like when you record a video, I don't know if Lucy, you found this when you've like recorded stuff. It's like sometimes you ask a question and it's fine, but then you look at the group and you're like, actually, if I was in a room with these guys, I would frame it differently, or I would ask something differently, and again, I think that's something it's made me realise about youth work, is that we kind of respond to who's in the room and we have a conversation, and so doing video content just again doesn't quite cut it. It's been great and there's been some really good stuff and some great conversations, but there's times where I'm like, I just wouldn't have asked that question if we were in a room right now.
Well, my high and low has actually been the same. It's probably been family time. At the start, it was a bit of a low because I guess I realised that our family needed all that distraction of all of the day-to-day busyness of life to really entertain us. And my high has been that we've learned over lockdown how to love one another, entertain one another, and be together without all those distractions. So without as much TV, without phones, without all the groups and friends and extended family that we go and see. I've really fallen in love with my family again, and I'm just so happy that we've learned how to be together.
The next thing I would really like to explore is, what has God been teaching us or showing us? I don't know if there's maybe one thing perhaps that God's been teaching us or showing us during lockdown. We've got Captain America for the God question. That's about right.
Right, if I poke Molly enough, you'll get the Incredible Sulk.
Oh.
I was in the middle of
Or the incredible punch in the face.
Yes. Now I've lost my thought, Hamish, thank you. Yeah.
Molly, you were talking about kindness, about what God's been teaching you.
Yeah, and also patience with everything that's going on. And also, really. I can't name it.
So I'd say for me, it's patience, like we were talking about in our Zoom meeting earlier. But my natural state is not a particularly patient state. I like to, when I get an idea, I like to do it then, as opposed to having to wait 6 weeks, 8 weeks. And it's lockdown, and because I'm shielded as well. So even when lockdown is completely lifted in the future, the highly likelihood is that I'll still be shielded and I still won't be able to go out when everybody else can. And yeah, God's really been impressing on me that sort of waiting isn't necessarily a bad thing. That you can wait in a godly way, for want of a better way of putting it, and wait in an active state rather than procrastination.
What has God been teaching me or showing me? He's been trying to teach me patience. Whether I've learned it or not is another matter. He has taught me how to co-parent. He has taught me that the world is in need, and he's shown me that the world is in need. And I feel like I'm not doing enough to make others happy. I just feel like sitting at home all the time doing nothing it's not a really good use of my time. I signed up for blood donations. I'm signing up for stem cell donations. I have started to make ice cream, which I'm hoping to sell to allergen-free people eventually when it all gets set up, so that they can have some yummy ice cream. I've been cooking for people, cooking for my family, obviously. Just cooking lots of really yummy things, brownies and cookies, and learning new techniques of cooking, and really found a new love of cooking, which I had a long time ago and I lost, and I've found it again, so I'm really excited by cooking at the moment. And then also gardening, again, being outside, being in the garden. He reminded me of my love for gardening and for the need of caring for animals, and I feel like I've really come out of lockdown with this new passion for caring for St. Francis Youth, caring for the community, caring for the animals in nature and wildness. I did an animal rehabilitation course, and just really taught me that the world needs more love, more kindness, more generosity, and yeah, I'm hoping that he's next going to teach me how to do that.
I think probably an opportunity to be quiet and to have quiet time, that actually our lives are, hectic and busy, and, they're still like that, but in a different way, aren't they? So actually through lockdown, there's been more of an opportunity to perhaps sit quietly or, read, or just have that thoughtful time, or listen to some worship or something like that, that perhaps at a different time of day or at a different pace perhaps than you normally would do. I think that's probably been quite a big thing through lockdown.
Okay, last question. How have our priorities, values been challenged, and what would we like to see different as a result? So in other words, like during the season, have our values or priorities shifted, and what do we want to see different the other end?
I think something that you see a lot sort of in social media and things is people have really taken the time to do the sort of self-care and taken the time to really look after themselves, get themselves right, be it exercise, diet, be it just focusing on sorting out your mental health and your headspace. And something that I worry about is that with everybody going back to work, that's all going to stop, and that people are just going to go right back to how it was before. Because I think it's so important to look after yourself, and I just love that to be an accepted part of life, that it's okay to take time for you, that it's okay to say, actually, no, I can't do this, I can't do this, I need to take some time to sort myself out. Because especially in our sort of line of work, doing youth work and things like that, if you're not good and you're supplying of what you draw on is low. You can't really give to the young people because you've got nothing in you to give them. And I think it's very easy to tell when it's not sincere, when you're trying to put on the smile, put on the happy face. And I just really like sort of that opportunity that it's okay to fill yourself up and take from others a little bit in a positive way, to fill yourself up before you then go and try and give to others.
How have our priorities or values been challenged, and what would you like to see different as a result? I think my priorities previously to lockdown were very inward. I was feeling quite low in my mood a lot of the time, and a lot of the time I guess my priorities were to make myself feel better, trying to be happy, and I think that's definitely been challenged in lockdown. It's just changed, I think. I'm not unhappy anymore. I'm not necessarily listening to the media. I'm not spending any time on technology. I'm not on social media anymore, really. I am being outside and being in nature, and I really appreciate family. And I think everything has been put really into perspective for me. I love God and having God in my life, and he has become a big priority, spending more time with God. I've done Alpha during lockdown. And my priority, instead of me being happy now, I think my priority is changing to make other people happy, looking more outward. I don't think that my values have necessarily changed, other than that I've learned potentially some patience and some compassion, to listen to both sides of the story, and that I've learned that I really want to be there for other people. And I would obviously like to see the world, everybody like this in the world, and for the world to be a changed place. But I'm going to start with me.
I think probably community coming together, and how, like even like doing the clap and things, you've got to know your neighbours and things differently, and I'd like to keep doing that, and get to know perhaps the community around, and how people are pulled together through the church, but also just generally in our roads and in our in our communities and our estates and things, actually bringing people together in a different way. I'd quite like that to sort of keep going afterwards, and it not be like, oh, we're back to normality, and then everybody shuts their doors and we don't see each other again. And keeping people together as a community, I think, would be one thing. I think perhaps the opportunity, like I was saying about the opportunity to meet with God at different times and have the peaceful moments and things, that we wouldn't want, when all this is over, to not have that again. So actually sort of to keep that, remembering to keep that time within our lives and things as well, would be quite important.
There's a guy on your road, isn't there, that like plays the violin and sings, or is it violin or something?
There was, our neighbours across the road. He's a former opera singer, and his missus plays violin. We were all out there on Thursday when we were clapping, singing sort of "You'll Never Walk Alone" and "We'll Meet Again" and
Over the Rainbow.
"Somewhere Over the Rainbow." I mean, when I say we were singing, we kind of let him do it because we all can't sing and we're all out of pitch. So kind of
He led it.
But yeah, and it was quite nice to watch how it grew. So it was just a few of us along the street, and then word spread, so people were coming down from like Waters Road to watch, and up from Hudson's Road to come and listen, and really sort of brought us all together.
And then people over, like further up the road as well.
So
yeah, it's like for me, that's one of the things I would love to see shifted. Is actually that going out on a Thursday and clapping has really just highlighted like we've actually got to know our neighbours a little bit. It's so easy to be so individual and isolated your own household, but to discover, opera singers and actually then being able to just sing and do something really beautiful for their street just never happens. It's so good.
Also, I got to meet some of the new neighbours that moved into the in like 2 doors down from us, and it's quite nice to introduce ourselves and just literally just moved onto the street.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Youth Team Assemble, that's been great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Captain America, for joining. That's been good.
You're welcome.
And yeah.
Oh, get this jacket off.